At a high society dinner, Olivia publicly accused me of impropriety. I covered my neck and slapped the Hong Kong tycoon behind me. I told you to be gentle, but you wouldn't listen. Like a dog. Instead of getting angry, he smiled smugly. Yes, honey. It's all my fault. This was already my 5th blind date this month. Under the table, I blocked my date's groping hand with my purse. Looking up, I met a pair of greasy, flirtatious eyes. I couldn't take it anymore and stood up abruptly. Since Mike isn't feeling well, I'll take my leave. Hearing this, Sophia objected. Mr. Smith, I know Emily has high standards, but Mike is a rare young talent. Don't let the kids miss out just because I introduced them. Her hypocritical talk made my father frown in displeasure. Emily, what exactly do you want from Sophia to satisfy you? Sophia hasn't eaten or slept well these days because of your blind dates. Olivia brought over a glass of wine and dutifully cut him off. Dad, Emily didn't mean it. I meant it, I said with a smug grin. Olivia's smile stiffened for a moment before she shamelessly handed me the wine. Emily, represent our family by toasting my kite shows our sincerity. Hearing this, Mr. Smith's expression softened. Olivia is so sensible. Mike gazed at me with a sticky, lingering look. It's fine. I like the troublemakers. Right. Only Olivia is sensible in the Smith family. While I, the rebellious daughter, of course took that glass and splashed every drop onto Mike's face. I mocked him mercilessly. What are you dreaming about? You idiot. Shortly after leaving the private room, I sensed something was wrong. I hadn't expected to dodge Olivia's obvious drink but still fall for the mother and daughter's underhanded scheme. My thoughts spiraled out of control. My body temperature soared, and my blood boiled. Through a reflective surface, I glimpsed my flushed cheeks. Without guessing, I knew Sophia and Olivia were brewing trouble, probably colluding with that hypocritical, scheming Mike. Nearby, several bodyguard-like men spotted me and hurried over. I ducked into an elevator and quickly pressed the close button. Only then did I notice someone else inside. The man wore a custom-tailored haute couture suit that accentuated his tall frame. Light and shadow played across his handsome face, enhancing his aloof aura. Despite the cramped elevator, his presence felt boundless. Most importantly, he was my high school deskmate, John. My mind was foggy. Help! I wrapped myself around him like an octopus. Terrified head abandoned me. Having sat together for 3 years in high school, I knew how cold he could be. At least now, he was the only person I could trust. My limbs went limp, and I started to slide down uncontrollably. Just before losing consciousness, he scooped me up with one hand. When I woke up, I was in a hotel room. My symptoms hadn't eased. Instead, they felt worse. I endured the discomfort, already planning how I would confront Olivia and her mother tomorrow. Not far away, John sat on the sofa, the glow from his laptop casting a cold, detached aura over his glasses. Unconsciously, a flood of online trash about him filled my mind. John, the ultimate boss among bosses, the epitome of manhood. I secretly swallowed hard. He glanced up, catching me peeking. Awake. The private doctor will arrive soon. Any symptoms of discomfort? Yes, I said, involuntarily moving closer to him. John ignored me, continuing to pore over dense foreign text. I felt even worse. His scent enveloped me, and I couldn't resist burying my face in his coat. John's body instantly stiffened. After a moment, he pushed me away firmly. He enunciated sharply. Emily, have some self-respect. I inhaled his intoxicating fragrance, seized the hand he used to push me, and leaned down to smell it. No. You smell amazing, I murmured. When I looked up again, the man's chiseled profile blurred before me. Gradually, only his perfectly curved lips came into focus. A sudden urge surged through me. I wanted to kiss him desperately. "Let me kiss you for a bit." John tried to shove me away again, but I seized the chance to press closer. "John." The first said, "Let me kiss you for a bit." Without waiting for consent, I kissed him forcefully, unnoticed by me, the instant I spoke his name. John halted his pushing motion and removed his glasses instead. I kissed him repeatedly, and John stayed silent, his gaze dark and intense, watching me kiss him. Only his ragged breathing gave away his true feelings. In my dazed state, my trembling hand fumbled for his shirt buttons. John gripped my wrist and refused me sternly. "The private doctor is coming soon." I couldn't grasp his words, instinctively rejecting them. "Not him," I insisted. "I want you." I cupped his face, staring intently into his deep, enigmatic eyes. "John." The first only want you. This man was infuriating, making me repeat everything so many times. John braced one hand protectively against the table corner behind me, his expression unreadable. After a pause, he replied, "Emily, think it through and don't regret it." I nodded eagerly. Yeah, no regrets." He stood up. I clung to him as the phone on the sofa rang at the worst moment. John held me with one arm, answered the call with the other, his tone leaving no room for debate. "Dr. Tang. Double the pay. Get here first thing tomorrow morning." The rain poured all night. When I woke, daylight streamed in. John, impeccably dressed in a suit, sat calmly on the sofa beside the bed. Last night's events replayed vividly in my mind. I had actually provoked the aloof and unattainable academic prodigy from high school, who was now the lofty business tycoon John, and I'd completely taken advantage of him. I was doomed. My scalp tingled. "Mr. Wilson." Hearing that form of address, John's initially pleasant and gentle gaze cooled bit by bit. "If I recall correctly, Emily didn't address me like this at first," he remarked. I asked in confusion. "Then what did I call you?" "Husband." "Help." I cringed so hard I could practically dig a 4-bedroom apartment with my toes. "I can explain." I tried to tell John it was all an accident. It wasn't an accident. His gaze seemed to pierce through my thoughts. "So, I wanted to suggest a clean break. You have to take responsibility for me." John's voice trailed off, carrying a hint of hurt. "Our family has strict values. We can't accept intimate contact with anyone other than our wives. In a situation like this, I'd get my legs broken when I go home." I was such a terrible person. Seeing me frozen in place, John pressed on. "You said you'd take responsibility for me. So." I swallowed involuntarily. "Marry me and make me your lawful husband." Clunk, that was the sound of my jaw hitting the floor. A document appeared on my phone. "This is my asset list." Honestly, John lived up to his reputation as a Hong Kong tycoon. The dazzling array of properties and endless investments showcased immense wealth. But I knew better than to covet what wasn't mine. John seemed to read my mind, his sharp gaze piercing through his glasses. Then, in the coldest tone, he uttered the warmest words. "After marriage, you'll hold 50% of all my assets." Could such a thing really happen? I didn't hesitate for a second. I blurted out, "Hi, husband." Emily and John walked out of the registry office holding 2 freshly printed marriage certificates, with a black Rolls-Royce bearing license plates from 3 regions waiting quietly at the entrance. The certificates hadn't even warmed up before John tucked them away. I returned to the Smith family not to announce my marriage to John to the world. A surprise this big was reserved to shock my dear stepmother and stepsister. I strolled in casually, grabbing a brick from the flower bed by the door. In the living room, my stepsister Olivia spotted me first. "Dad. Mom. Emily is finally back." "Emily Smith. Where did you go last night? Why did you change your outfit?" "And it's the limited edition new release from Hermes." I knew Dad favors Emily, secretly giving her more allowance than me. Olivia hinted in just a few words that I stayed out all night and was partying irresponsibly. Dad's temper flared sky high. Bastard. Not satisfied, Olivia kept fanning the flames. Dad. Emily. I took a few more steps. The brick in my hand fully visible. Her pupils dilated in shock. The rest of her sentence stumbling out incoherently. What's going on? Dad sat on the sofa, turning back impatiently to look at her. Sophia opened her mouth and saw the brick in my hand too. Her face instantly turned deathly pale. I grinned and said, "It's nothing. Just came back to pack some things." After that, I ignored the three of them and headed straight for the second-floor bedroom. In the living room, Sophia put on her caring mother act, dutifully worrying about my marriage plans, which made Dad angrily call me an unfilial daughter. But angry as he was, Dad wasn't stupid enough to mess with my position at the company. After all, I'm his only blood-related heir. Olivia is just a year younger than me. Sophia was originally one of my dad's secretaries, and in Hong Kong circles, Olivia is rumored to be his illegitimate daughter. After my mom died in a car accident, Sophia quickly married my dad with Olivia in tow, and for years they've been stirring up trouble to fight for the family fortune, worsening the relationship between Dad and me, until last year, when I returned from studying abroad, joined the company starting from the bottom, and steadily worked my way up, earning impressive achievements that won over the company's veterans. A month ago, Dad hinted he wanted me promoted to vice president to gradually take over the company. Sophia couldn't wait to come up with the idea of an arranged marriage, trying to use interests to bind and constrain my future. But she overestimated herself, growing up in a family like ours. No one's a fool. On the day Olivia first entered our home, I shoved a tightly encrypted paternity test in his face. They share no blood relation. Dad promised me that I'd be the sole heir. But he also asked me to turn a blind eye to Sophia and her daughter, when Sophia and Olivia provoke me first, and am willing to play along. They're just jumping fleas in my eyes. But when I refuse to be manipulated and plan to fight back, Dad isn't happy. He stopped me just as I left my room, starting with an emotional plea. Dad's getting old and just wants someone warm and caring by his side. Unfortunately, after years of facing his favoritism toward Sophia, I've grown a heart of stone and don't fall for that anymore. I sneered. Is the thermostat broken at home? No. This house isn't a storage unit. Be sensible and stop causing me trouble. Dad paused, confused. What do you mean? That mother-daughter pair is one big parcel and one small parcel. And you, my dad, are the old parcel? Get it? I smiled. Bastard. My suitcase beat me downstairs. Olivia saw me and dramatically covered her mouth. Emily, stop making Dad angry. If he finds out you're living with some shady character. I let out a mocking laugh. Instead of wasting time worrying about me, you'd better worry about yourself. Olivia saw that I looked relaxed, became suspicious, and hurriedly ran to her room. I walked out of the villa indifferently. Behind me came Olivia's sharp scream. I laughed like a villain in a novel. The phone is bulky. Just bear with it. After work, I drove to the marital home. The decoration was in minimalist style, and the furnishings seemed to have been changed to welcome the mistress, fitting my lifestyle everywhere. After tidying up a bit, I happily prepared to live the wonderful life after marriage where my husband is rich but never comes home. By the way, I told my high school classmate and best friend Yushuyu about my marriage news. Fish. What did I say back then? The academic genius look at you was definitely not innocent. Just as I was about to reply, I saw the master bedroom door open. John wrapped a towel around his waist, with water still dripping from his hair. The impactful scene suddenly burst into my view. Plump water droplets sliding over tight muscles, disappearing into the towel. Damn it. Whose look at whom is not innocent? I gulped down my saliva. On the phone. Yushuyu sent another voice message. I subconsciously clicked to play it. Why didn't you grit your teeth and go for it back then? I heard high school boys are harder than diamonds. Too bad. I heard men start to decline as soon as they pass 25. On the other end, Yushuyu, this troublesome friend, was still sighing over my happy life. On my end, my fingers frantically tapped the screen, trying to pause the playback, but it triggered external speakers. The world muted at that moment. Great. The hanging heart finally died. Weather am on the decline. Only those who have tried know. What do you think? Wife. Damn it. How to deal with offending my husband on the first day of marriage. After who knows how long, John lifted me from the bed and carried me to the dining table. On the table were freshly cooked dishes. 4 dishes and 1 soup. The taste was as delicious as the appearance. I secretly took out my phone. Yushuyu's chat had over a dozen unread messages. The last one was sent an hour ago. Suddenly got it. You married people are so damnable. My face flushed slightly. Wanted to say something to cover up. Looked up. And John was seated opposite me without me noticing. His gaze was deep, fixed on my hand without moving. Only then did I realize I was wearing a diamond ring the size of a pigeon egg. And his was lying quietly on the table, waiting for its owner to put it on. My heart raced for a moment. Seeing me not react for a while, John spoke up. Emily. We're not in a business marriage. There was no emotional foundation before marriage. So I hope we can cultivate feelings after marriage. I agreed immediately. Okay. Rich husband. Now. You can put the ring on your new husband. I hastily slipped the ring onto his hand. This guy has so many tricks. After that day, with John's unremitting efforts, our feelings gradually warmed up. Sometimes, I'd even have the illusion that we were a young couple deeply in love. Until Olivia Johnson posted a set of group photos on social media, with the caption specifically labeling the woman in the photo, "Screaming today for the beautiful love between Yeshi and John Wilson." P.S. I bet you wouldn't guess. Yeshi is the first love that John has cherished for years. In the center of the 9-grid layout, the legendary first love and John gazed at each other from afar, as if an entire century lay between them. Anyone who saw it couldn't help but say it was touching. My heart, which had been fluttering lately, was doused with a bucket of ice water. It really made me laugh in anger. To hell with his family's strict morals. To hell with his self-restraint. I threw the cufflinks I had given to John into the trash. He didn't deserve them. After Yushuyu saw this social media post, she immediately forwarded it to me. There have been rumors in the circle that John has a first love. I thought it was you. But she's overseas. Men are truly no good. Pa. After cursing, she still felt it wasn't enough and sent me a screenshot. That guy reserved a spot at one of my couple's restaurants. Tonight at 7:30. Sis will take you to catch him cheating. Get the evidence. So you're never at a disadvantage. In the end, we didn't catch him in the act. My marriage with John has never involved any feelings from the start. I had no reason or standing to do such an undignified thing. We changed venues midway. Yushuyu owns 10 clubs with male models. With Yushuyu, the big boss, stepping in, the most attractive male models from the whole place were called to my side. Yushuyu wished she had 10 fingers to hold one male model each. I sat to the side, downing glass after glass of various imported liquors. In my drunken haze, a young, cute guy like a puppy sat down beside me. He said he was from film school doing a part-time job, different from those flashy types outside. By then, Yushuyu had already disappeared to some corner to have fun with a male model. The guy was truly understanding, worthy of being the gentle, kind confidant my good sister found for me. I leaned on his abs and sobbed loudly, crying for my dead, budding love. John. Dogman. Cheating dogmen are impotent for life. The dazzling lights were suddenly blocked by a tall figure. And everything turned pitch black before my eyes. A familiar voice sounded in my ear. Is this how you accuse me of cheating while in another man's arms? Dear wife. John stood in the backlight. His expression unclear. The terrifying aura around him revealed his current mood. I turned my head away, not wanting to see him, but John stepped closer to me, and the next second, my body suddenly felt light. He picked me up horizontally, his strong arms making it impossible to struggle. John, you bastard. Instead of going to your first love, you come to ruin my fun. Are you even a man? I'm so stupid. Really. Believing in men brings a lifetime of bad luck. John tried to speak several times, but I cut him off each time, until finally, he sighed helplessly. Let's talk about this back home. When John carried me into the car, my drunkenness had mostly worn off. Realizing I was still in his arms, I pushed him away with both hands and struggled to sit up. Dogman. Get away. What is this poking me? As soon as the words fell, the car fell silent. The driver felt he should be under the car, not in it. Until John chuckled lightly. I finally realized. Feeling as if struck by lightning, he leaned in to speak. The subtle vibration of his vocal cords brushing against the fine hairs in my ear. Emily, regarding your accusation just now, I can only prove my innocence. I felt my face flush hot all of a sudden. I waited for you in the restaurant for 2 hours, but you never showed up. So I had to use some means to find you. I just didn't expect you to have such a side. I took out my phone. The notification bar was filled with missed calls and unread messages. Most were from John and my assistant, thinking that I had made such a big mistake. I couldn't help but feel my scalp tingle. The accusations I made against John at the club just now, I couldn't deny a single second of it. Seeing his expression, he must have been angry, thinking that I was still in his arms now. I didn't dare struggle anymore. No, that bastard didn't physically cheat tonight, but emotionally cheating with his first love is a fact nailed down. I pulled out my phone, found Olivia's social media, and started questioning. What's with you and your first love rekindling old flames? Before I could finish speaking, John's hand on the back of my neck suddenly tightened, and he forcefully kissed my lips. The scent of mint mixed with anger invaded my mouth. Caught off guard, I was instead conquered inch by inch. Retreating step by step, the air in my lungs was gradually depleted, and I gasped for breath, mustering strength to turn the tables. So much so that I didn't even know when we got home. When the car stopped, I was pressing John into the leather seat, trying to turn the tables. The driver opened the car door. John pushed me away, turned, and got out. I was just starting to curse in my mind. The next moment, my body was lifted into the air. John carried me on his shoulder with one hand, holding my high heels in the other. His voice was cold. Don't move. After entering the house, John still didn't let me go. He took me all the way to the study and placed me on the desk. He reached out, cupped my cheeks, and lowered his head to kiss my lips again, like a cat that never knows when to stop, until the oxygen was completely depleted. I don't know how much time passed. No cheating. No first love. The man's low, hoarse voice sounded in my ear, his tone solemn and rational. Only you. I was like a fish out of its tank, gasping violently, and in that instant, I was put back into the water, regaining freedom, undeniably. His words stirred ripples in the lake of my heart. This man is tricking me into falling into his carefully crafted sweet trap again. I shook my head, which was bubbling with honey. Don't believe it. You. John was speechless, looking helpless. Reason tells me I should leave here now and clear my head. I raised my hand and found that a high-quality tie had somehow wound around my wrist. John. You. I was furious and wanted to scold him. The wedding ring that had been taken off was pushed back onto my ring finger. He lowered his head, continuing the previous intimacy. Tender kisses landed on my neck, and I turned my head with the motion, my gaze colliding directly with the entire bookshelf. In just one glance, a shiver instantly ran through my body. The entire wall was covered with photos from different periods of my life. There were official shots of me from middle school winning competitions and performing at cultural events. Side profiles of me sleeping on my desk after class. Close-ups of him standing behind me in graduation photos. Even photos from my time studying abroad. Suddenly, I recalled what Yushuyu had said. Back then, the top student's gaze at you wasn't exactly innocent. John liked me. John actually had a crush on me. Tiny clues connected in my mind. And the truth came to light. All of John's unusual behaviors suddenly had an explanation. I tentatively asked, "John, do you like me?" Without any hesitation. His voice was like a siren from deep-sea legends. Enchanting and moving. "I love you, Emily." I could confirm he was completely sober at that moment. His mind maintaining basic logical thinking. Although that statement undoubtedly pleased me. I was now sober. It was time to settle some accounts. I freed my wrist from the tie and pushed him away abruptly. "You weren't in the same city as me during college. How did you get so many photos of me?" I narrowed my eyes seriously and began interrogating him. "I applied to take additional courses in your school's program. How come I never ran into you?" John brushed my stray hair behind my ear. His voice seemed to hide a gentle knife. "Sharp with every word. Every time I saw you, you were busy dating different foreign guys." Feeling a bit guilty, I retorted stubbornly. "I was discussing academic issues." "Really?" He chuckled lightly. "I might have believed that if I hadn't seen you enthusiastically interacting with the performers at the magic show. You were stalking me. You nearly got into trouble several times during that period. And I was worried." John's few words brought back those unpleasant memories. When I first started studying abroad, I often encountered unrest. Several times, I narrowly escaped danger. And the only 2 bodyguards I had soon resigned due to injuries. Back home, my dad was busy enjoying family bliss with Sophia and her daughter. So content he rarely thought of returning. Sometimes not even paying my tuition on time for half a year. Sophia, however, used my dad's money to hire assassins, trying to kill me. To protect myself, I had to join all sorts of events and crowd into busy places. That lasted 3 months before I could catch my breath. I thought Sophia's people had finally given up because they couldn't find an opportunity. But I never expected John had been standing behind me all along, protecting me, liking someone without confessing, silently guarding from the shadows. Such reserved behavior wasn't typical for a big shot like John. I voiced my doubts honestly. John's usually cold and distant face showed rare emotion. "You told Yushuyu I was as cold as a hard block of ice. And you didn't like that type. You preferred someone like Siejiyu, a sunny, cheerful golden retriever." By the last few words, he was almost gritting his teeth. A thick wave of jealousy filled the large room. Realizing he was jealous, I found it amusing. "Back then, I was wondering why you wouldn't like a person but would like a dog instead. After all these years, I've figured it out. If you like dogs, then I'll be your only dog." I gazed into his eyes, filled with intense affection. John's kiss landed heavily on my heart. "Now, the dog is going to fulfill his marital duties with you." It proved that you shouldn't provoke an angry man, especially one who's angry because of jealousy. I felt like a dried fish being cooked over and over. Only when dawn broke on the horizon was I finally released. Exhausted, I didn't even have the strength to turn over. I whimpered a few times. John planted a kiss on my forehead. "Sleep, dear." I was awakened by a phone call. On the other end, my father's voice was furious. "Emily, You unfilial daughter. I hung up the phone expressionlessly. Immediately after, a second call came in. It was Sophia. If she hadn't pulled this stunt, I wouldn't have remembered that today was my father's birthday. She had schemed tirelessly to arrange this trap today. If I didn't play along, how could this drama unfold? John had gone to work early in the morning. I informed him, quickly got up and booked an appointment at a styling studio. After finishing my styling, I rushed to the banquet venue. Sophia was taking Livy around chatting with people. Everyone enjoying themselves. Livy was the first to notice me. Emily, Dad has been waiting for you for a long time. Her voice and expression were equally exaggerated, as if she had genuinely been anticipating me. Many onlookers cast strange glances my way. Amidst the murmuring, my father walked over from not far away. He pointed at me, displeased, his tone mocking. If Livy hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have known I had a daughter like you. Sophia quickly played the good cop. Mr. Smith, what are you saying? Emily is very busy with work at the company. It's normal that she doesn't come home often. Yes, Dad. Emily works so hard every day. Unlike me, who just freeloads at home. My father immediately decided, since you're so busy with work, I've decided to let Livy join the company as the marketing director. Olivia's eyes lit up, filled with joy and gratitude. Thank you, Dad. I'll work hard to catch up to Emily. He was already elated from Sophia's flattery. His obedient youngest daughter looked at him with adoring eyes. This scene inflated his vanity to no end. I smirked sarcastically. Back when I was arranged to join the company, I was only assigned as a team leader in a business unit. At first, I rotated through various core departments, worked hard to secure several big deals, and step by step secured the position of general manager. In his eyes, I have no sense of belonging to this family, no respect for him as the patriarch, and my contributions to the company are just part of my job. I didn't overlook the greed in their eyes as their scheme succeeded. I was just worried that my father is so incompetent. The company under his leadership probably won't be able to reach new heights. Since that's the case, it's time for him to step down and hand over the inheritance rights to me. As for what he thinks personally, who cares? Emily, Mike is here. Olivia suddenly grabbed me, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She was eager to see a different expression on my face. Last time we met, Mike said he really likes you. It's a shame you left too early and didn't get a chance to know each other better. Mike raised his glass to me from a distance, flashing a confident, determined smile. I smiled indifferently. Since you think he's so great, why don't you go on a blind date with him yourself? This match is yours, just as you wished. I think you two are quite well suited, both equally scheming, both full of deceit. Olivia's face turned green with anger. The way her hypocritical mask was torn off looked truly ugly. She tried to speak again but was pulled away by Sophia to socialize. Today's banquet was nominally to celebrate my father's birthday, but in reality, it was Sophia's matchmaking event. Sophia hoped to find a suitable marriage prospect for Olivia at this gathering of elites. If Olivia married well, this union would become their best bargaining chip in the fight for inheritance rights, compared to their half-hearted provocations against me. Sophia clearly knew how to weigh the pros and cons. I found a corner and was about to hide there for a rest when a commotion erupted at the entrance. I glanced toward the door and locked eyes with the newcomer right away. Through the crowd, dead on target, John smiled at me, then made his way through the throng with his assistant to stand before me. The previously unnoticed corner instantly became the center of attention. At the heart of the banquet, Sophia and Olivia, who had been chatting with others, saw this and their pupils contracted sharply. Sophia knew the opportunity had arrived. The refined, handsome man before her was the youngest head of the Fu conglomerate, even the Smith family, which she had spent half her life climbing up to. was just a subsidiary in scale compared to the Fu Empire. Most importantly, he was reclusive and rarely attended parties. His presence meant the Smith family must have something he was interested in. No matter which daughter of the Smith family caught his eye now, it would all end up as Olivia's gain. Emily's long-dead mother hadn't been able to outmaneuver her. And Emily wouldn't either. A bright smile bloomed on Sophia's face as she linked arms with Olivia and approached John. John, your presence truly honors our Smith family. This is my younger daughter Olivia. She has admired you for a long time. Would you do us the honor of sharing a dance? John's expression was calm, but his tone was icy cold. No time. He turned his head toward me and made a gesture of invitation. I wonder if Emily would be willing to dance with me. I was about to agree when Olivia abruptly cut me off. She pointed at my neck and said with feigned anguish, "What is this, sis? Stop making Dad angry. That night you stayed out. You sent him to the hospital in a rage. Also, last time my friend saw you alone at the hospital. Even if you should still take care of your health." She delivered her lines with dramatic cadence, seeming to say everything and nothing at all. The guests immediately began whispering among themselves. My father stood aside, his face ashen. He was coaxed over by Mike. "No matter what Emily looks like, I like her," Mike immediately promised loudly to my father, asking him to rest assured and hand me over to him, acknowledging him as the prospective son-in-law in front of everyone. Several people chimed in together, pushing the prearranged act to a climax. Watching them act so dramatically, I discovered a few hickeys hidden under the jawline. The location was very concealed. Even the stylist who had just taken over my makeup and styling didn't notice. Inwardly cursing him. This guy is really an asshole. When the slander was thrown at me, I knew the timing was ripe. I had no intention of keeping the marriage secret. Moreover, John wanted to go public even more than I did. Our relationship was never a secret to be hidden. John and I interlocked our fingers and announced openly in front of everyone. "Let me introduce everyone. This is my husband." John's hand froze, and he was stunned for a moment, remembering last night's promise. I smiled and slapped John backhanded. "Last night I told you to be gentle, but you wouldn't listen. Like a dog." John wasn't angry at all. Instead, he smiled radiantly. "Yes, wife. It's all my fault. I think matters between us as husband and wife don't need to be explained to outsiders." Olivia, who had just squeezed out a few tears, was stunned. Sophia's face turned extremely ugly. "Emily is my lawful wife. I don't want to hear any slander or defamation against her from others. This is just a warning. I hope there won't be a next time." John's assistant timely added, "We hope you cooperate with our work. If there is a next time, the Wilson Group's legal department will fully defend Emily's rights." After saying this, John took me and said to my father, "Uncle Lin, rest assured, I will treat Emily well for a lifetime. Emily didn't have a good life with you. I don't have the magnanimity to tolerate others, so I can only call you Uncle Lin. As for the cooperation you mentioned to me before." His icy gaze swept over Sophia and her daughter. I calmly added, "Manage the people who need managing. You're old now. It's time to hand over the burden to the younger generation." He seemed not to expect me to be so heartless. Even my lover refused to call him Dad. The man who had oppressed me all my life under the name of father suddenly slumped. I took John's hand and walked out of the banquet hall. "John, we're wearing matching outfits today." After that day, Uncle Lin was soon hospitalized. He was too indulgent in his youth. As he aged, many chronic illnesses emerged. Sophia still wouldn't give up, urging Olivia to seize power from me. I had security escort Olivia out when she came to assume the position of director. I had evidence that Olivia was not his biological child placed by his sickbed. He took one look and was so angered that he had a heart attack, falling into a coma. I didn't pull out his oxygen tube. But I would never let this man who abandoned his wife and daughter have a happy old age. The company's shareholders, seeing his decline, all defected to my side. I took over the company entirely in one fell swoop. Seizing power with thunderous force, I sat in the office on the 66th floor, with the center of the entire city beneath my feet, and the bustling Victoria Harbor in the distance. I suddenly remembered a sentence Sophia had said to me when she entered. Thanks to your mother for nurturing the peach tree to bear fruit, allowing me to pick the peaches. There are many ways for people to climb up. Sophia chose the shortcut of picking others' fruits. This path she had walked and succeeded in. She wanted her daughter to walk again. But while the peach tree strives to bear fruit, its roots also dig deep into the rocky soil. These roots will absorb nutrients again and bear new fruits. I did it. The company has half of my mother's heart and soul. And I hope to manage it better in my hands. To advance the cooperation between the two companies, I was swamped all day long. John, however, got off work on time and brought me famous Portuguese tarts. During another late-night overtime, he hugged me from behind, his fuzzy hair nuzzling against my neck, thinking about how difficult his elite team was to deal with in business negotiations. My team and I had to work extra days because of this. Finally, I couldn't hold back and kicked him off the bed. But he said something very well. Love is not a favor from those in high positions, but the pace of those in sync. On our first wedding anniversary, John said he would personally design a new diamond ring for me. He took me to the studio of a renowned jewelry designer. The designer was an elegant and intellectual foreign middle-aged woman. She handed me a stack of sketches. I flipped to the last one and pulled out that sketch. It was signed John in the bottom right corner. Its finished product was shining brightly on my ring finger. A sentence was added to the description. Long-planned love. A few days later, when John showed me a new design, I added a new sentence next to it. It is mutual love.